Right, Bo. It's been everywhere, rightly so. Actually, I think Iryna Zarutska, the Ukrainian refugee, the actual refugee that was residing in the United States of America, and was brutally murdered in cold blood. Now, obviously, it would be weird if we didn't talk about it here. So, we are going to talk about it and cover it, and hopefully we can add something to the conversation, I guess. It's caused quite a stir, hasn't it, really? This has been, I think this is, to compare it to England, this has almost been the Southport moment for America. Last year, how everyone sort of woke up a little bit in the UK about everything that was happening. This is kind of their Southport moment, where the seal is now broken. It's everywhere, and the response is rightly so furious. One of fury, sadness, and horror. What do you really say about it? I mean, it's awful. I mean, we're not going to show the video, guys. Like, I'm not showing that video. I don't even want to show the image. Her last moments. It's bloody terrible. It is actually horrifying. It's one of those things that, because it was on Twitter, it's sort of been shoved in my face numerous times, and every single time a little bit more of me breaks inside. I'm just like, this is Jesus. Like, no one deserves this. No one deserves that at all.
No, I mean, completely unprovoked. It couldn't have been less provoked. Yeah, she's sitting there completely quietly minding her own business. And this maniac, just from behind, stabs her in the neck. I mean, where do you start? What do you say? One of the things I would say is that this happens all the time. This type of thing happens all the time. Just this one happened to be caught perfectly, in inverted commas, on camera. It's just sort of a perfect example, and that the victim is not even American. So before we get into sort of the details and stuff, the horror, true horror of the crime, the way the media tried to memory hole it immediately. It was actually
quite literally immediately. Actually, like, it was done.
I saw Elon on Twitter reposting and posting about how there was sort of zero from AP, Associated Press, from MSNBC, CBS, even like BBC, just nothing on it, nothing. Because it happened back in August, but I think is the guy actually convicted? Anyway, it's a slam dunk. Obviously, he's guilty, whether he's been formally convicted. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, Donald Trump and the FBI are pushing for the death penalty. They have pressed charges. They're seeking to just get rid of him, basically.
Yeah. Someone like that can never be allowed to be in the general population ever again. It's completely insane, and perhaps we'll get onto the insanity element of it in a minute. But just on the media thing, so Elon saying it or retweeting someone that had just said 0,000 articles compared to, say, the Daniel Penny thing or the George Floyd thing or whatever, where there's thousands, tens of thousands of articles on it.
AP had 73,000. 73,000. What? 73,000. Zero on this. Zero.
And the reason why, of course, is that the narrative doesn't serve their anti-white, anti-American, anti-Western purposes, because she wasn't even American. They can't even make the case that's already a bullshit argument that the systemic historical racism and oppression of the United States, she's somehow by proxy through her ancestors guilty of, or anything like that. She's just some completely innocent 23-year-old Ukrainian, and he murdered her for no reason. Well, we say no reason. He was saying afterwards, "I got that white girl" or something.
Yeah, so he said it twice as he walked down.
So
I got that white girl. I got that white girl.
I saw some people saying, people like Tim Paul, we don't know what his motivation was. Yeah, kinda, yeah. He was insane. I'll give him that. This is an insane person,
because he has since come out and been like, "Oh, the government put something in my body. It made me do it." Blah blah blah. And it's like, yeah, you're insane, sure, but
nonetheless,
what did you say immediately after the fact?
Not too insane to buy and carry a knife or get a train ticket and get on the train and sit there quietly for a minute. Not too insane for that. Not too insane to walk along saying, "I got that white girl" afterwards. Not completely babbling, incoherent, insane. No, not that insane. Anyway, the media, the Elon was sort of promoting it, saying what a thing it is, that they're memory holding it. And now we got, I think it was earlier today, or maybe it's yesterday, Trump talking about it in a straight to camera sort of press conference in the Oval Office. But yeah, the terrifying thing is that it's this sort of thing just happens all the time.
It's opened the floodgates for. I've seen so many threats, and again, I almost want to take a break from Twitter, to be honest, because it is just so. It's awful. Like, I've seen just so many threads of all of this stuff that's happened, and it's horrifying, and it really does illustrate just how prevalent it is, and that's why the media chose to memory hole it. Because, as you say, it goes against their narrative. You can't talk about this because it shatters their narrative. What sort of point scoring can they gain from this? Well, nothing, because it destroys everything that they have to say. And even if I'm going to play devil's advocate, right, and say he himself, and I don't believe this, by the way, but just for argument's sake, he himself didn't do it for racial grievance reasons, right? Let's say that was the case. Undoubtedly, him being allowed out on the street after 14 times, right? Like, he's a serial criminal. Like, he's a bad person. He's a really bad person, evil person. That in and unto itself is because the very fact he was able to be out and about is because of this whole nonsense racial grievance politics that is pushed in the States so much. So, and I don't buy that, by the way. Like, I'm not saying I do, because walking down saying, "I got that white girl, I got that white girl," yeah, it was very obvious why he did what he did. That was what it was. But let's play people's game that are trying to discount that. That's a byproduct of this nonsense, this perpetual black victimhood complex that has been allowed to fester and rot in the United States, right? Like, we did a fantastic piece on Enoch Powell recently, and it's one of those things that you just extrapolate downwards and you go, right, well, hold on, let's give people the right to vote. Let's tell them that they're victims constantly. Let's give them all of our money. Let's do this. Let's do that. Oh, wait. Oh, let's tell them we're the oppressors. Let's tell them the institutions are against them. Let's tell them this. Let's tell them blah, blah, blah. And you don't expect them to do anything against you? Like, you wouldn't expect these people to violently rise up against you and do this kind of stuff? Oh, come on. Like, come on. You can't weaponize lawfare in people's favor whilst telling them that they're a victim, a racial victim, and not expect, some sort of, I don't know, vengeance or revenge or whatever.
Yeah, and absolutely, yeah, and the courts. I mean, I think the last judge that let him go was some black woman. There's obviously a partisan activist judge who doesn't care. Obviously does not care about the safety of the public. And let's see who appointed her, and then
So apparently,
who appointed that woman, who appointed her, and so on.
Apparently, she didn't pass a bar exam. She's in a state
Yeah,
which
we've heard that.
doesn't have to. Yeah, that's man. Honestly, so much weird crap.
But yeah, so 14 other arrests or whatever, and some of them violent, even one against his own sister. Yeah, this is someone who, if there was any justice, long ago, on like his third or fourth arrest or something, should have been sentenced to a very, very, very long custodial sentence. Like Red in Shawshank, you don't come out either ever or until you're a very old man, where your violent impulses are gone, or you're actually physically not able to act on them anymore. That's the type of person this is. Someone who just absolutely should not be, in fact, should be in a secure hospital or an insane asylum for the criminally insane type. This is who this person is. So yeah, the complete broken system. People talk about, oh, we need more police and stuff. No, this person just needed to be locked away. But
it wasn't the police. They did their job. They arrested him.
Right. Yeah.
They got him 14 times.
Yeah.
That was that. If we're looking at the chain of events, that wasn't the failure, was it?
Right.
The police did their job. Kudos to the police. They apprehended him several times, multiple, 14. That wasn't the failure. The failure was then what the state chose to do with him.
Absolutely spot on. Yeah, it's the courts, it's the judicial system. Yeah, not the police system. No, quite right. And as just thing to say about the footage itself, I actively try to avoid any snuff, any gore, really. When I was relatively young, I was probably about 16 or 17, there was a VHS that was going around in those days, in the late 90s, called Faces of Death. And it showed various real life killings, things from like World War II footage or whatever, the Kennedy assassination. It's a real killing, right? It's a real murder, things like that. And there was one in there, and it was actually Hezbollah. It's actually a Hezbollah execution, I think, in Syria. And it was just like TV quality, news quality, reasonably close up, someone being executed with an AK and like half their head being blown off. And from then on, I was like, that's enough for me. I remember when Ken Bigley got his head cut off. And the internet was quite new, relatively new. And I remember seeing that somehow and being like, this is not my thing. And ever since then, so for a long time, most of my adult life, I've seen a few real life killings, and I don't need it. Even on Twitter, there's a few accounts I used to follow, good based accounts, but they would often post snuff footage, gore shit from wherever, from Syria or something. And I have to unfollow them because I just don't want it showing up in my feed. But this showed up in my feed loads of times. Originally, they just showed you more or less the still and the guy walking along afterwards. You didn't actually see the moment of the killing. But okay. But then it came out, you saw sort of the moment after where she's sort of in shock, just being sort of stabbed and like just sort of curling up a bit and putting her face in her hands. I mean, she's dead. She's already dead.
Yeah.
And it's sort of beyond heartbreaking. It's beyond horrific. It's sort of the worst thing because she didn't die immediately. She would have bled out. It would have taken a while to bleed out, and she would have died in horror, knowing that she's bleeding out and all that stuff. It's absolutely terrible. And to see what the media did and the way the mayor came out of Charlotte saying, just playing defense for the killer, essentially. And the way some of the mainstream media, like CNN, I saw trying to make it out that the Republicans and Trump are going to use it, politicize it, and that's terrible. But nothing about the actual horror of the thing or crime, the crime rate among young black men. Because people say there's that 1350 thing, 13% of the population, black, commit 50% of the crime. Well, actually, it's way over 50% of the violent crime, way over. And it's not 13%. 13% of America is black, but it's largely men, so it's something more like 6 or 7%. It's largely young men, so you're down to like 2 or 3%, and then it's not all of them. It's not all young black men. It's a relatively small number of young black men. So it's actually something like 1% of the population or 2% of the population commit well over 50% of the violent crime. That's what it really is. A terrible state of affairs, an unbelievable state of affairs. And this poor girl, I mean, I kind of hope you're right. I don't like accelerationism. I don't think of myself as an accelerationist. But if this breaks the seal, at the very least, if this breaks the seal on the ability to start having a conversation, well, that's something, isn't it? That's something, at least.
Well, that is that's, to me, that's seemingly what's happening. So, because I don't know, again, like I don't go searching for this stuff. I don't want to see it, but I don't know if you've watched. Unfortunately, I don't know if you watched the whole thing, and I don't know. Okay, so you're not aware. Well, kudos to you, because it's really very unpleasant, very, very, very unpleasant. One of the things a lot of people have taken umbrage. The whole thing, people have taken umbrage with. Obviously, you know, my wording is not great on this. I'm trying to be as respectful as possible. A lot of one of the major things that has irked people to such a high degree was obviously the act itself, but it was the subsequent reaction to those around her. There's about 4 people around her. They did nothing. They got up and walked away after the man had already left. They didn't do anything. They didn't do anything at all. They didn't go to try and help her. They just walked off. And that is, and you know, yes, they were black. And so the kind of dialogue that has now come out from this is, well, one, how broken is our society and how disconnected are we? Are we one society? Are we one culture? You know, what has happened to the social contract in America, where someone can get stabbed in front of you, and you know that because he's just walked down and said, I got that white girl with blood. There's blood everywhere. And they do nothing at all. Nothing at all. And so there does seem to be quite a large conversation happening right now, which people are trying to put off. People are trying to pigeonhole, you know, blockade it in, get that lid on the, you know, the pressure cooker. This being one of them. Whoopi Goldberg went out and said this.
You know, look, a young woman is dead. Let's take that into consideration. And yes, a man who should have been behind bars was loose and out. Well, he should have been. Well, listen. Yeah. He was a schizophrenic man. His mother begged them to take him and put him away. So stop politicizing this. This is not political. Yeah. This has to do with how we take care of our sick Americans when they are in need.
Well, it is expressly political because of people like you, Whoopi Goldberg, that has played the black victim card pretty much the majority of your life, more so in your later career, because you realize you weren't getting acting roles anymore because you're old, and that's what happens in Hollywood. You then turned into a massive racist. But it is expressly political. Is expressly political. One, because of what he said afterwards, but two, because of the institutions that have mollycoddled him and allowed him to keep breaking the law, right? Like, it is political, and it's very difficult to not draw, comparisons with what happened to St. George, St. George Floyd, right? I mean, that sent everyone schizo. And he was a horrible criminal, disgusting detritus of a man. This is a poor, tiny little girl knifed in cold blood. And they're like, let's not make it political, guys. Calm down.
Yeah, I know.
Shut up. Like, fuck you, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, George Floyd wasn't even murdered despite the conviction of the cop. It was a suicide. It was not suicide. It was an overdose. He died of an overdose. His heart stopped because of a fentanyl overdose. That's literally exactly medically what happened. He wasn't choked in any way. Yeah, it's really sad. Yeah, the angle that the other people in the carriage did nothing, walked away. Yeah, it's even conceivable her life could have been saved. There was a guy channel I watch. I watch a lot of American gun channels. This one channel I watched, this guy had a misfiring Barrett 50, and the bolt came back and hit him in the neck.
Oh.
And he jammed fingers in his neck and took himself to hospital and had to have loads of surgeries, but he survived because he knew what to do. She obviously didn't know what to do. She's obviously in complete shock. I mean, you can tell at first she doesn't even realize she's been stabbed to begin with.
Yeah,
that's very often the case. People don't realize they've been shot or stabbed immediately. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the idea that this isn't going to be political after everything that's happened in America over racial killings over the last few years, the hypocrisy, pure evil. I mean, this is what we're up against. It's a terribly sad story. It's one of those ones. It really is one of those ones which will sort of stick with you. The image of that poor girl just sort of looking up after she's been stabbed, like what the she's already dead in essence.
Yeah, it's horrifying.
Yeah, the word is horrific, isn't it? That is the word.